What's up, guys, and welcome back to another edition of the Bust and Bash podcast. I'm joined here today by my lovely co-host, as usual, Ron Buster. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great. That's what I need right now. More wrestling content coming day after day, not month after month. Literally day after day, there's more wrestling to watch. Good old wrestling. It's a bit too much, but we're surviving. We're surviving. Can't complain though. $9.99 a month for all this. Yeah, can't argue.
Get your money's worth. Get your money's worth. I, of course, am Cameron Bash. Forgot to mention that at the top of the show. But yeah, welcome back to another episode. Today, the main topic, the main agenda this evening is to discuss WWE Payback 2020, give you guys our thoughts, give you guys our review. But before we get to that, just wanted to, once again, give you guys a quick shout out. Thank you very much so far for all your feedback on the podcast and for interacting with it, coming out to watch. Greatly appreciate it. We love to see that you guys are enjoying it. And one of the things that we wanted to let you know about is that we now have a dedicated Twitter and YouTube channel for the Bust and Bash podcast. Obviously, if you're watching this on the YouTube channel right now, you already know that. But if you're watching this live on Twitch right now, make sure to head on over to the Twitter, because right now that's probably the easiest thing to do. So, Bust and Bash on Twitter. Easy as that, at Bust and Bash. Check it out, and then you'll be able to find the YouTube link from here, because you don't actually get to have a custom URL on YouTube until you reach 100 subs. So head on over, give us a hand with that milestone, get us to 100 subs so that we can get this custom URL set up for the Bust and Bash YouTube channel. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So that's going to be the new home of all the podcasts now. That's where you're going to be able to check out the YouTube version of the podcast is on that YouTube channel. And then to keep up to date with everything about the podcast, including like previews of what we're going to be talking about in the coming episodes and so on and so forth, all that fun stuff. If we ever have any guests or any other announcements to do with the podcast, that's all going to be on the Twitter. So definitely want to give that a follow. And the first thing you'll probably want to do after giving that account a follow is tweet at it and send us your questions. If you got any questions for me and Rom, whether they be wrestling related or car related or just general WWE games related, whatever your questions are, tweet at us at Bust and Bash on Twitter, and we'll take those questions and we're going to start answering a couple of them at the end of each show. So I think that would be a cool little bit of interaction that we get to do with you guys.
Oh, yeah. And more or less, you get to hear my side of the story more so than before because, there are some questions we did leave about in the call episode. And now I'll be more interested in talking about more general stuff. So absolutely, go ahead and tweet us the questions. And I'll be able to not only share my story / my ego, but also Cam's side as well.
Absolutely. It'll be a lot of fun. And it lets us know what you guys want to hear us talk about specifically and just jump right into the sort of meat and potatoes of it.
Yeah, more specific questions. And also, we'll also be trying to upload those specific parts of the podcast in separate videos so that you guys, if there's specific questions you want to look it up on YouTube, you'll be able to find it more easily there rather to have us or just hear a part of the podcast and you're having to skim through it. So, we'll get through that eventually. But right now, let's start with the actual basics and actually have the YouTube channel be up and official. Help us make it official. Reach 100 subscribers, get that custom URL, and then we'll go from there.
There we go. First step, let's get it. 100 subs on the channel, at Bust and Bash on Twitter to find that link. And yeah, let's make it happen.
Damn straight.
Alright guys, let's move into the main agenda of the evening. The WWE Payback 2020 review. Live, once again, from the WWE Thunderdome. And it seems like they're working out some of the kinks for that now. I'm seeing less murder videos and
I was about to say, less executions.
Yeah. They seem to be getting the hang of it a bit better.
Oh, you say hang, and then there's... Oh, God. You said...
I did notice that this time around, though, there was a lot more... there was a lot more families, a lot more kids, a lot more females. So my idea is that they may be either more carefully selecting the people they're letting on, or perhaps they're bringing people back who have already been on.
I mean, I think they are actually doing background checks on these guys now, just to be 100% sure. They might actually
Yeah.
go to like some, I don't know, some warrants or something. I don't know. But, the fact that we haven't seen it, I wasn't paying attention to the crowds. I barely do because they're always shuffling anyway. So I don't pay much attention to who's being involved in the crowd area, especially since most of them have a not so good camera. So it doesn't matter. But from what I can tell so far on Payback, there hasn't been an incident. Has there been like an incident where
I don't
and
think
I'm not
so.
talking. I'm not talking about Kenny Omega freaking being there. That was an incident. That was a godsend. All right. I'm talking about literal like, oh no, that shouldn't be there type of incidents. So if there wasn't any of that, so WWE might have taken the right approach. However, that will knowing the internet and how it works, there will be a workaround, and some guys will be there to spoil the fun or make the fun, however it is, or however you want to interpret it, and something will happen in the crowd. Just saying, it's a human nature.
I definitely don't think we're done with the shenanigans, especially since it seems like this is gonna become more of a, I guess, a permanent fitting. I think the Raw this week was meant to be the last one, but now they've got SmackDown this week being a part of it as well, and I'm pretty sure they announced that Night of or Clash of Champions even is going to be in the Thunderdome. So one would assume that every show in between now and then is also going to be there.
They should. I mean, I don't see this is the best solution they're ever gonna get.
Yeah.
I don't see why they should revert back. If anything, people got used to the Thunderdome, and if they go back to the Performance Center with the fan on top, I keep referring to that, then people will just be turned off by it automatically. So
that's what I'm worried about. It's the sort of juxtaposition of going from the Thunderdome back to the Performance Center and it just being such a downgrade,
It is a downgrade. I mean, let's be frank, the Performance Center is like the template for Retribution just to wreck shit. I'm just being frank. So that's what it's known for. And, hopefully they can stick around with the Thunderdome at least a bit more because this whole pandemic might even last until WrestleMania from the way things are going. So who knows? They gotta make something permanent right now. They gotta have and also not just for this year. I'm talking about when something like this ever happens again in the far future, hopefully. Hopefully far future at least. So they can actually have some backup just in case for future generations. But needless to say, I do not want to go back to the Performance Center. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, absolutely. Just Thunderdome for life. It's I was a bit meh at first, but it's definitely grown on me, and it works. They've sorted those camera angles out so it doesn't look like a big Zoom call in the background. It looks a little bit more dynamic than that. So.
Yeah. They found a good balance. But so Payback so speaking of good balance, I think Payback was I wouldn't give it too much. I would just say it was a good balanced show. So we can get into specifics on that, but it wasn't like the greatest show we're ever going to see. Far from it, in fact. But for what it was okay. We can get into the specifics.
Yeah, I agree. Bit of a roller coaster. A lot of good, but a lot of meh. So, kicking us off, we had a pre-show match. We usually don't talk about the pre-show matches too much, but I thought we would with this one because there's some interesting stuff going on here, especially leading into the Raw after Payback. So, we had the Riot Squad going up against the Iconics. Now, what I do like about what's going on here is they are paying good attention to the details when it comes to the history between Ruby Riott and Liv Morgan and putting them back together because obviously Ruby Riott turned on Liv Morgan semi-brutal fashion. It wasn't just a sort of split of the moment thing. She came out and made a point of attacking her to her face, so it was it was one of those. So they're obviously they've been put back together now. They had this match. During the match, at one point, Billie Kay was distracting Liv Morgan, who was on the apron, which then allowed Peyton Royce to knock Liv off the apron when her back was turned. When she turned around, Ruby Riott was stood in such a position which made Liv believe that she was the one who attacked her, and then that was followed up by the Iconics screaming and shouting, "Ruby hit you, Ruby hit you." Liv then has a bit of a PTSD moment and trust issues here. She doesn't go for the tag for most of the match. She's hesitant to reach for it because obviously she feels like Ruby's just betrayed her again and she doesn't want to trust her. But eventually she does end up making the tag, which leads to the pair of them being able to pick up the victory. So Riot Squad come out with a victory on this pre-show. And then moving over into Monday Night Raw, we have a rematch between these two teams, this time with a women's championship, a tag team championship opportunity on the line, and also the losing team would have to disband. And through this, the Iconics ended up losing, and it seems as if they're a team no more.
Now that reminds me, how many tag teams do they have now in the women's division? Now they're like one. There's like 4. Now there's 3. Like, what's going on?
Yeah, not many at all. And for some reason they've just gone ahead and not only gotten rid of one, but probably gotten rid of their most sort of
complete.
Yeah, the most complete one, the most natural one. The guys who have been a tag team since they've started.
Yeah, and actually, hold on. Now that you mention it, all the other teams basically have partners that either betrayed them before or they hate each other, right? Nia Jax and Shayna, Bailey and Sasha, and now the Riot Squad. They're all like disfigured tag teams. Mm-hmm. So what's the point? What's the point of the belts? Yeah. I'm sorry, titles, Vince. Don't fire me. Actually, hire me. But you know what I mean. Just what's the point of this? If the fundamentals of the division is broken, what's the point of having a championship? What's the point of having a division? Especially now with the Iconics gone, disbanded, whatever. What's the point? Where's the prestige? Where's the fundamentals? Where is it?
I'm not sure. It's very weird. It's they've not really done a lot with the Iconics. I always felt like the Iconics moment was still to come. I feel like the way that I've always felt towards them at this current moment is very much like early day Bella Twins. So yeah, I was always expecting them to have more of a breakout moment, maybe have more of a sort of real storyline going on, a real sort of run with those tag titles again. But no, none of that. They're over. And where does this leave the two of them? Where does this leave Billie Kay and Peyton Royce? It's dead fish in the water, perhaps?
I mean, it's a dead division, so might as well be dead fish in the water. I don't know what to tell you.
I feel like even though they've not been doing a lot, I do feel like they're better off as a team.
Yeah, I mean, they look like a team, too. I just think they have magic attires. Since the beginning, they were a tag team. So, I don't know. This may be, it could be a situation where we could be wrong. I had the same feeling towards when The Miz and Morrison were a tag team and they split. It's like, no, they were the best together. But then, they both actually, individually, they were better off without each other. So who knows? Maybe. But I don't know. I still don't have the same feeling simply because these two together have been there for their entire tag team careers. Or sorry, for their entire careers. So I don't know. They're going to roll the dice with this. Or maybe it could be just a fluke. Maybe they'll pull something out of their asses next week, saying, "Oh, they're back on SmackDown," instead of Raw. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, they're always doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and this one they actually do need it because this is just stupid. They can't lose the Iconics. Definitely not.
But if they do end up going their separate ways, I'm still kind of interested to see where they go and what they can do as individuals. No offense, I've not got a lot of hope for Billie Kay personally, but I think Peyton Royce on her own, I think this could be something special there if she's able to put it out of the bag.
We could, but again, WWE has had a history of picking the one person we thought least of over the guy that had the most potential. Same thing with Miz and Morrison. Remember, we thought Morrison was the next Shawn Michaels, but then look, Miz became the most multiple-time champion there and was the one that made event WrestleMania way before Morrison. Yeah. So who knows? It's unpredictable.
So, moving on from our pre-show tag match, getting on to the main show. Kicking us off with the U.S. Championship, the SummerSlam pre-show, we have Apollo Crews versus Bobby Lashley. Now, both men have a good competitive match, typical type of match that you'd probably expect to see from the two of them. Bobby Lashley with a power advantage most of the way through, Apollo Crews taking the offense with his speed and athletic ability. Both MVP and Shelton Benjamin were at the ringside for this match, and surprisingly, they didn't really get involved too much. There was this one moment where Apollo had knocked Bobby down on the outside. The rest of the Hurt Business sort of stood up and got between the two men. But besides from that, nothing really involvement from MVP and Shelton Benjamin. The moment was particularly interesting as well because it's not like them getting in between the two of them gave Bobby Lashley any sort of distinct advantage. Actually, Apollo Crews still was able to roll Bobby Lashley into the ring, still get a hold of him, and then it was a moment shortly after that allowed Bobby Lashley to take control again. No outside interference whatsoever. Very clean match, surprisingly. And Bobby Lashley does go on to win the match via full Nelson choke, becoming the brand new US champion. After the match, when the Hurt Business are in the ring celebrating, and they seem to have a new little gimmick when it comes to celebrating now, by the looks of things. They all pose at the side of the ring, and then a cameraman takes pictures, and then it shows you stills of them celebrating. It's like, I guess it's like a new 5-second pose type of deal.
But it looks like an SBR 2009 loading screen now.
Yeah. They're celebrating like that, and then as they're doing that, Apollo Crews comes back in. He jumps Bobby from behind before being grabbed, kicked, and thrown out of the ring by MVP and Shelton. So Apollo Crews pretty annoyed after the match, teasing something perhaps, possibly an Apollo heel turn, maybe Apollo possibly joining them later down the line. Interesting finish after the match, I think. But yeah, that's the US Championship match. I didn't think it was that bad, especially considering it was pretty clean, and probably wouldn't expect that with the Hurt Business at ringside. Ron, what do you think?
I think, well, it's 2006 all over again, isn't it? And I love it. Lashley, the US champion. All we need right now is Booker T and him feuding for that belt. But in all honesty, it was here's the thing. It was an okay match. The thing is, now with Lesnar possibly being a free agent and with all this, WWE I should think, try to push someone like Lashley just a bit more. Not necessarily with the US Championship. I'm talking about more of like a match style, because this guy, you said he has the power advantage, which he does, but he doesn't do that. He doesn't use his power much. Back in the day, back in 2006, I know age is a factor, and I get it. But, there's no reminiscence of the old Lashley. Lashley used to throw people around like they were ragdolls. Now he's finishing off with it like a simple full Nelson. What happened to the freaking Lashley that used to power slam people like Umaga with ease, or Big Show? Now, it's a completely different Lashley, but it's not my favorite version. But I'm glad that the title is around his waist again. Finally, at least the new title will have a bit more prestige, hopefully, with Lashley being the champion, as well, surrounding himself with MVP and Shelton. Now you got 3 veterans holding the title with the more dominant stable. I think it could work. You mentioned Apollo possibly joining them, in like a similar fashion of you can't beat them, join them. Who knows? But it seems like we were a bit wrong about a month ago when we said, the sky's the limit for Apollo and the US Championship, because it was cut short immediately. Holy crap. That was not even a month. That was a few weeks. So, nah, man, Vince pulled the rug immediately. Good old Vinny, changing his mind. So, but who knows? Maybe there's a bigger plan. But knowing WWE right now, I think it's just a point of changing its mind, really.
Yeah. I think it's good to see that the US title is now with the Hurt Business. It's given them that legitimacy that I think they need, that they haven't really had, and they've sort of been slipping off the bandwagon with a lot of people as of late, and becoming less and less interesting. So this is sort of bringing them back up a level, and then hopefully just good things from here on out. Hopefully they can continue to expand, and it's not just a sort of one-trick pony with the US Championship. And I think even though the sort of sky's the limits with the US title for Apollo Crews is probably off the table at this point, I do think that they still have plans for him. They're still pushing him in a direction, and I think that's confirmed by that little kerfuffle after the match. We're going to see Apollo Crews come back with a vengeance, probably at Clash. And yeah, we'll see where he goes from there.
We'll see. Hopefully, it'll actually get a payoff because so far the payoffs have been delayed to the point where never even been delivered. So hopefully, for once, let's have Apollo get himself a break.
Absolutely. So, moving on. Sheamus versus Big E. The Battle of the E's. Emus versus Big E. So, this was a horse fight type of feel for this match, but a lot more technical than your typical type of horse fight than you'd expect from the likes of The Fiend and Braun, for example.
I can't wait to get to that. Oh my god.
Lots of headlocks and battling for position in the opening parts of the match, which seemed like true tests of strength. I was pretty invested in that. Big E's one of those guys, especially who's good at sort of just big bumping meat. So
yeah, he's a big boy. We'll give him that.
So a nice moment of one-upsmanship early on as well. Sheamus had thrown Big E over onto the apron. He was hitting his beats of the Belgium onto his chest. Big E then fell down to the outside. When he gets up, he grabs Sheamus's legs, bringing him down flat onto the apron, where he pounds him in the chest a little bit as well. And then he goes ahead and goes for his big apron splash that he does. He misses, and this allows Sheamus to take most of the offense from the match at this point on, where he starts targeting and working on Big E's leg. The match slows down a bit here as we move into the next portion, as Sheamus locks in a number of leg submissions to work on the leg of Big E. This plays to good effect as the barrage that followed from Big E looked a lot more impactful and fast as a result of the slowness that came before it. Big E loses the offense once again when he starts jiggling his hips. This is something that's been playing into Big E's story as of late. The Miz mentioned something about, hey man, you got to get serious. You got to stop joking around. And they shout that out on commentary as well. So he's jiggling his hips, doing his little dance. Sheamus managed to pick him up, drop him down on the alley-oop. And then after a little bit more of a back and forth between the two, Sheamus looks to set up a bro kick, which Big E catches into a powerbomb. He then picks Sheamus up to hit the big ending, where he gets the win in a pretty lackluster finish, to be honest. But yeah, Big E versus Sheamus. What'd you think?
2 questions. Number 1, why in the blue hell are they trying to push Big E going to turn into being serious when he's wearing a friggin' All That logo on his jacket and boots? And All That was a 1990s kids show. I remember that because I watched it. Look it up. It's an All That logo, mind you. And then the other question: what the hell was Sheamus wearing? He looked like an Irish rapper in the skits or in the match card.
That was so weird. He was wearing his bar fight outfit that he faced Jeff Hardy on SmackDown in all the match cards. And then he came out and he looked like Sheamus from 2009. It was so strange.
Which is my favorite version, mind you. Yeah. But still, why would you put the match card version and then have this one look different? It's weird. But nonetheless, like you mentioned, it was a decent big guys match. Nothing to remember or write home about. Lackluster ending, fine. Hopefully, this does continue on with the path of Big E becoming a little bit more serious. I'm not saying, becoming the old Big E, where he was literally like the most boring big guy in 2012, to the point where even his WrestleMania debut was forgotten. I mean, I had to literally look it up just to remember, where the hell he started. But no, just a bit more. But I don't see it happening if he's going to continue wearing those freaking not stupid, I love the show. But you know what I mean? Those childish logos in his attire, juggling his hips left and right. Like, Big E at this point, I get it. I saw the interview with Miz. He's trying to be himself. But sometimes being yourself is not good enough in this environment. You gotta find something to where it sells, not just being yourself. I don't see Big E being successful as himself without the New Day's persona / element right now. Hopefully, I'll be wrong. Hopefully, this new direction, if it is a new direction, not something they're just trying, will result in something. But I don't know. Big E has been lost in the shuffle for 8 years now. So I don't know. There's only so much this guy can try to make it to the top. Hopefully, he will. But, I don't see much options for him.
So you don't think Big E doing the New Day shtick on his own works as well as it did as a group?
No, I'm saying if he continues this version, he might. But then he'll have to share the spotlight with Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston because they are the New Day. So if he's going to have a singles run, he has to be by himself. If he's if he's going to be with New Day, then he's going to have to share the elements of New Day. It's quite simple. So you can't have both. That's what I'm saying. And
I think the idea is that he's still New Day, and then at the sort of back end of this, he is going to come back with New Day. But Kofi and Xavier are both out with injuries right now, and that's sort of what's led to this singles push for Big E. But he's still New Day.
Oh, maybe they can find a good hybrid for it. But usually, when people try to do a hybrid, they lose their identity. So they gotta be careful with this one. If that's the case, then great. But I don't want it to have it to where the only time these guys get singles pushes is if the other two get injured, because that's just nasty. So it's like, hey guy, can you get injured for me so I get a singles push? I don't want that mentality, So
Yeah.
if the guy deserves it, Big E does deserve it. I'm just saying, he has to find the right balance when it comes to his character, because the goofball Big E, no, I don't buy it. The serious Big E was boring. So I don't know. That's the thing. Like, I really don't know. I'm just saying, like, I don't believe this version of Big E is World Championship material. There needs to be, I'm not saying remove it. I'm saying add something to it. I hate it when people change the fundamentals of the gimmick. I love it when they add it, but I don't like it when they removed it. The worst case was Del Rio, when he went from being the Mexican drug lord to like one of the heroic Mexican wrestlers. Like, it's it just completely ruined him. So hopefully, things will change for Big E for better.
Yeah. No, you guys have some good points. I think they are trying to add something to the whole dynamic at the moment, with this whole thing going back and forth between him and the Miz, and what Big E needs to bring to the table in order to sort of be able to do what he needs to be able to do. Just more of a ruthless streak, I think, would be nice to see in him. Just sort of still playing to the old New Day stuff, still being in that mentality, but just being more focused, more ruthless when it comes to the matches, and then sort of saving the dancing and the silliness for the celebrations,
Right. And like I said, a balance, because The Rock did it the best, I think. He found a very good balance between entertainment and seriousness. If Biggie can find a similar balance, then, I would buy it. But shaking his hips around and throwing pancakes all over the ring, like, I can't buy it, especially with the All That logo. That's just like that really want me to choke him. like you're trying to be serious. You're coming out with that childish logo on the back, and no.
So what did you think of Kofi's reign then? Because Kofi won the title while doing all the silliness.
I know. I was happy when he won it. I was really like, yes, finally, because I wanted him to win it back in 2009 when he started to feud with Randy Orton. I'm like, yes. But then on SmackDown, he came out with that freaking pancake in his title. I wanted his title reign to end immediately as soon as I saw that. Because, dude, if Ziggler got heat for shaking his ass with the title, then what the hell is Kofi doing? And the sad part is Kofi got a 6-month title reign, while Ziggler got 2 months or 1 month. I don't know, but it was very forgettable. While Kofi had a 6-month long reign, and I think that was the reason why Vince might have made Lesnar squash Kofi, because like I'm serious. I'm serious though. I know it's funny, but I would have done the same thing if Kofi, for the love of God, was still like, this is the most prestigious. Vince McMahon is the same person that would yell at you for calling the title a belt. And you think it's gonna let you put pancakes inside it and not let you get away with it? Dude, that had to be a connection. I'm just saying.
Yeah. It made sense in the grand scheme of things, sort of just with the levels, Brock, Kofi.
Yeah, I love Vince McMahon. Like, I gotta feed the Lesnar next. Hunter, who you've got from NXT? Ricochet was nice, but I need someone more meaty. So, when Brock returns, which he will, there's gonna be another NXT guy in the plate. So we'll see who the poor sacrifice is in a few months.
Alrighty, moving on from Big E versus Sheamus, we move into King Corbin versus Matt Riddle, who I was sure had a doppelganger. He looked like Matt Riddle, but he looked not like Matt Riddle. It was very strange. I don't know what it was. Someone said it was maybe the sideburns, but I don't know. I was all kind of confused.
The conspiracy theories will begin. Remember the same thing happened with the Ultimate Warrior? They thought it was a clone or something. Well, the same thing's going to happen to Riddle here.
All right, so before the match even started, during Matt Riddle's entrance, Corbin hits him with a clothesline. It was a pretty funny moment because the moment when he hits the clothesline is the same moment that Riddle sort of pops his flip flops off and the pyro goes off. So it looks like the clothesline, the pyro was for the clothesline. So.
I know, it was great. It was like one of the WWE games pyrotechnics. Like you time it exactly when an animation happens. It was fantastic. It was great. It was not on purpose, but I tell you what, this is why I like Corbin even more. First, I used to have now feelings for him, but now I'm like, yo, he's growing on me. Like when he does stuff like this, and then he does something else every single time he starts a feud, and we'll get to it. But Corbin, I just love, I just love is he never learns. All right, he does his shtick, but he never learns, and I love.
Yeah. All right, so moving on from there, the match begins with Corbin hitting some heavy offense on Riddle, keeping him trapped in the corner at one point, keeping him bent over the table at another point, just keeping the offense on him. This offense keeps up for a few minutes until Riddle begins fighting back with some strikes of his own. He then begins transitioning into some submissions to wear down on Corbin. There was a cool little moment in the match where Riddle was on the back of Corbin with a sleeper hold. Corbin falls backwards to knock him off and sort of wind him. And after a short moment of them both lying on the floor there, Corbin lying on top, Riddle just locks in the sleeper hold again, causing Corbin to need to find a different approach to breaking out of it. And I thought that was a pretty cool spot. It's like, oh, you've done this offense, you've laid down on the ground to try and get me out, and I'm back. Oh boy, how are you gonna get out of this time? Corbin managed then to retake the offense with his slide out of the ring clothesline combo. After keeping the pressure on for the majority of the rest of the match, Riddle hits a head kick to start turning the tables. The two engage in a back and forth strike battle, which ends with Corbin coming out on top with a deep six. That would end up being the last major move from Corbin of the match, as this was shortly followed up by a triangle hold on Corbin from Matt Riddle, which Corbin tries to reverse into a powerbomb, at which moment Riddle quickly hops out of it, hits the bro to sleep, which is then followed up by the floaty bro from the top rope for the win. And then Corbin then attacked Riddle backstage after the match, marking yet another feud for Corbin that will probably last 3 to 6 months.
That's what I was trying to tell you. Every single time Corbin loses, he attacks the guy afterwards. Like it's like a Looney Tunes cartoon, man, with Wile E. Coyote and the Roadrunner. Like it literally is the same episode with Baron Corbin every single time. And you know what? That grew on me. Like he's the guy that will go down in the Hall of Fame maybe as the guy that, hey, he's the one that attacks the person after he loses every time. So it starts a 6-month feud. So there you go. It happened with Randy Orton. It happened with like countless. It would happen with Cena. We don't know how that Roman too. Oh god, Roman! That was a whole year. Holy crap! God dang! They actually went through 2 Saudi Arabia shows. That feud lasted 2 Saudi Arabia shows, folks. I'm telling you, that's why King Corbin will always be the king in my eyes. Probably the second best king of the ring, right next to King Booker. But because he rocks that stuff really hard. He's the spoiled king that whenever he loses, he just refuses. He doesn't agree with the results. So he takes that out on his opponent, starts a feud, which he will eventually lose in the payoff or a blow up. So there you go. That's King Corbin, and you know what? May the king live. Long live King Corbin.
Long live the king.
Yeah.
Yeah, not really much more to say about this match. It was pretty standard. Nothing too much to write home about. And get strapped in, folks. Corbin versus Riddle for the next 6 months. Woo.
Oh yeah, and it's gonna be great, bro.
All right, so moving on, we're moving into the Women's Tag Team Championship match between the role models Bayley and Sasha, and versus Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. Now, straight off the bat, I just want to throw it out there, hot take. Not only do I think this is the best match of the night, I think this is the best women's tag match ever.
I wouldn't disagree with you, honestly. And that's because saying it's the best women's tag match, at least in WWE so far, at least on the main roster, it's not a stretch because we haven't seen I can't remember.
They're on a lot to choose from, of course. But this was just.
I would remember this always. I can't remember most of the tag matches that happen in the women's divisions, honestly. And this is, and it's not because the talent is not doing their job correctly. It's just, they're always changing plans. They're always changing the teams. And this one in particular just felt so unique and so real. There's something to where Shayna, especially Shayna, she brings something so legitimate to everything she does that it just made this tag team environment feel that much more epic. Every single strike she did felt more real, felt more impactful, felt more game changing, and it felt like an experience. This tag match, especially the ending. Oh, I can't wait to get to the ending. That was just the perfect bow tie ending.
All right, so let me break it down for you, folks. So the match from start to finish was just high energy, high action, with a lot of innovative moments throughout the entire match from all the competitors. Reminded me a lot of like one of those old Shield matches versus the Wyatt family, or like the Usos versus New Day. It was just intensity all the way through. So it seems like Shayna and Nia are going to have some issues throughout the match, as right off the get-go, Shayna takes the opportunity to tag herself in, something Nia isn't a very big fan of. Following that, while Bayley and Shayna are in the ring, Sasha moves around to grab Nia's leg on the apron, which is then followed with Bayley throwing Shayna into Nia, knocking her to the ground. This then allows Bayley and Sasha to double team on Shayna for a little bit. Nia comes back into the match when Bayley is pinning Shayna. Nia throws Sasha into the ring to break up the pin. She throws Sasha into the pin. This then allowed... Here's a pretty cool moment. Bayley and Sasha then tried to take down Nia, who responded with big force, knocking them both out. She then demands the tag from Shayna, who comes over and gives it to her, allowing Nia to come into the ring and dominate on Bayley some more. Another awesome tag team moment between Sasha and Bayley shortly follows this. Nia has Bayley stuck in the corner between her and Shayna. She's not directly in the corner, but she's like slowly walking towards her, trapping her in the corner. Bayley quickly jumps back with that sort of back elbow she does, hits Shayna. Shayna then tries to get into the ring, obviously distracting the ref, and then Sasha comes in from behind, hits the chop block on Nia, and the two then continue to take the advantage. The role models had the offense on Nia for a few minutes here, double teaming her with some unique offense. Nia retakes control when she has Bayley up for a Samoan drop. Sasha pulls her off. Nia then responds by immediately picking Sasha up, spins her around. Sasha's legs hit Bayley, knock her down, hits the Samoan drop. Nia tries to hit a leg drop on Bayley, which is reversed into like a half-assed ankle hold, which Nia is then able to just walk to the side of the ring with Bayley attached to her leg, dragging her all the way to make the tag to Shayna. Shayna comes in with a dominant display, knocking down both Bayley and Sasha. Shayna then makes a definitive tag to Nia, like, yeah, here you go, let's do it. Tags her in, showing that the two are now on the same page and believe that they can win this match. During this, Sasha and Bayley are able to retake control on Nia, where they hit a big combo of a Bayley elbow drop and a Sasha frog splash, which Sasha is trying to pin Nia with. Bayley hits a Bayley to belly on Shayna in a moment that just looks like they've won the match. They've hit this big combo on Nia. They're getting the pin. She's hitting her finisher on Shayna. They've won, but out of nowhere, Nia kicks out. Bayley and Sasha continue to keep the offense on Nia for a moment, and at one point throw her off the ropes so that they can hit a big double back body drop, at which point, you know the classic, Shayna reaches over, makes the tag off the rebound. Shayna comes in, she's kicking ass, she's beating up both Sasha and Bayley. This then allows her to, with Sasha on the ground, she locks in the Muda Deathlock. And then a Kafuda clutch onto Bayley as she runs at her. She then falls to the ground with the clutch around Bayley. Deathlock around her legs locked into Sasha. Both the submission holds locked in. Sasha's trying to crawl up from behind Shayna with that lock still in, trying to pull on her back. She pulls her fist up, goes to strike Shayna. She grabs onto her arm. She pulls it across Bayley's chin, and Bayley taps out. Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler are crowned the new women's tag team champions.
I gotta tell you, now that you're reminding me about all the little details, I gotta tell you, yeah, this is by far the best female tag team match I've seen in the main roster. At the very least, the main roster. So, without a doubt, I think the MVP is Shayna. Nia Jax. Nia is like the bullet sponge. She took most of the offense and she absorbed most of the punishment. Shayna did the heavy lifting from where I'm seeing, at least. So if those two continue to do that mentality, if they continue to do that tag team, I would say, game plan. I think we're going to have very interesting tag team dynamic here between the two, especially right now with the fact that we don't have that many tag teams anyway. So them getting featured over and over again, hey, you know what? I'm all for it.
Yeah, yeah. I just love this match from start to finish. Just everything about it. As I said, it reminds me of those sort of classic Shield, Wyatt family, Uso, New Day sort of tag matches, just the really fast paced ones. That chemistry that you were seeing from Sasha and Bailey was really reflective of that as well. Just the sort of quick back and forth tag so that they can deal sort of more tag team combo moves together. You said Shayna was your MVP. I think everybody in this match was really impressive, but my MVP is probably going to be Bailey. Once again, Bailey's coming out of every pay-per-view as my MVP. Bailey is just impressing. And it's going to be interesting now to see where they go, because obviously they've not got the titles. I would love to see a rematch. If we can get this match for Clash, that would have been awesome. It does look like we're going to be getting Liv and the Riot Squad facing them now instead. I'm not sure if that's at the pay-per-view or if that's going to be on the main show. But either way, Sasha and Bailey versus Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. I would love to see that one more time, please.
Oh, we're gonna see it eventually. I mean, it's not like they have much of a choice because after the Riot Squad, who else is there? Again, pointing it out. Like, not many people in the when they say, "Oh, you gotta go way back in the back of the line." Like, okay, that's just one other tag team. So after that's done, I wouldn't complain.
I'll go
So
behind
again,
these guys, and then I'm next.
exactly. So it is not a jab at like the tag team division. This is a jab at the fact that there is no tag team division. So guys, bring back the Iconics or get some from NXT, because the main roster, at least right now, when it comes to the women's tag team, there is none. There's 3 now. So yeah, there is no prestige. There's no reason to even have those belts. Like, there's no reason for, honestly, I'm gonna say this right now. There's no reason for Shayna and Nia to be crying in the post-match celebration because they acted like they won like the freaking gold mine here. They won like the ultimate. They won both the world,
the most prestigious prize in all of wrestling.
Right. If you look at the basic equation here, now that you got 3 tag teams, right? Imagine this. This is how I look at it. You got 3 female tag teams, and you're the best. You're the champion of the 3. That means you're only the best of 3. Not the best of like 12 tag teams or the rest of the roster. That doesn't mean much if you look at the mathematics, all right? I'm just saying, to add more prestige to the titles, you need to have more members fighting for it. And if you don't have that, there's no point in crying over it when you win it. So I'm a very good party pooper, as you can tell, Cam. And I'm sorry, but I'm just trying to be realistic here.
Yeah. Get on expanding that, WWE. Give us a... Don't let matches like this go to waste. Don't let epic matches like this just be the one and done of this division. Add to it, expand on it, because they've got great talent in the women's division. Just make some teams. You have the entire roster of women's tag teams right now are just misshapen pieces stuck together, and you made teams out of them, and
that's what I said before. They're like, they either hate each other or they betrayed each other before. Yeah. So it's like they're taking time bombs. They're not tag teams. And mind you, did they have an influx of female talent there, and they're just being lost in the shuffle. So might as well do something with them. I'm not saying just pair them randomly, but start something. Yeah, just start with something, anything, because right now, there's a reason why people want to see more of this stuff, is because they want to see the females become more prestigious and more, I would say, more featured in the grand scheme of things. But they can't do that if they're randomly put together just for the sake of winning one match so they get disbanded later. That just makes no sense.
Yeah, I hope that's not. I hope we do see like a decent run from Shayna and Nia, and then they're not just a sort of gonna lose it next week and then be done.
I don't know. Freaking WWE, I mean, with their freaking shufflings, man. I mean, they love the shuffle game, They're good poker players, so who knows?
Shuffle. So, moving on. Next match on the card, Keith Lee versus Randy Orton. Surprisingly short match between these two, coming in at only 6 minutes and 40 seconds. A cool moment in the get-go where Randy Orton goes for his headlock, which is pretty much where the match left off roundabouts last time with Keith Lee, with headlocks and stuff. Keith Lee then bounces Randy off the rope, Randy is then able to check his shoulder block. Keith Lee stares at Randy all cool and composed as if to say, do it again. When Randy rebounds this time, he's met with a leapfrog drop down combo into a big crossbody. Really teaching the Viper a lesson. Randy then gets a bit cocky, shouting in Lee's face, telling him that he needs an education and that Randy Orton demands respect. Randy then delivers a flurry of chops, which Keith follows up with a big double chop of his own to the chest, knocking Randy down to the mat. Randy took some offense after this by targeting Lee's arm, first slamming him into the steel post, then dropping him shoulder first onto the announce table. Randy holds the offense for a few moments before Keith Lee responds with a massive pounce, sending Randy all the way to the outside onto the over to next to the announce table, where Keith Lee goes over and gets some revenge by hitting a big back suplex of his own onto the table. Randy retakes control with an apron DDT when they get back into the ring. Before he sets up for an RKO, Keith Lee reverses the RKO and then just literally throws Randy into the air like a goddamn child to hit him with a massive pop-up spirit bomb for the win. Keith Lee getting a big dub over the veteran Randy Orton in his pay-per-view debut. What did we tell you guys? You don't need to worry.
You don't need to worry, but I gotta tell you, I'm massively worried, man. Because this feels so forced. Like, it was just, let's just give them a win so they can make it in like, it didn't feel like Keith earned it. You know what I mean? Like, it feels like...
He's the first double NXT champion.
In NXT! Exactly. This Randy Orton freaking trolls NXT on Twitter. This guy's a whole different level, my man.
So what did you think when Kevin Owens and AJ Styles came in and got those dubs on Cena from the get-go?
That's a different point. I wasn't a fan of it initially, but then it's different. First of all, at that point, Kevin Owens was still the NXT champion. So it was a bit different, in that case. So it was more like, okay, I can see him. And Cena was also on his way out at the time. So it was more like, it's different, but I wasn't a big fan of that either. But Keith Lee, and also the match between him and Cena was much better than the Keith Lee and Orton match. So it felt more deserved, in that match regard. But in this case, like, especially the ending, just felt like, oh, can I give me the win, Orton? Okay. Hit it with a power bomb, spirit bomb. By the way, spirit bomb is from Dragon Ball Z. I don't know if they're going to copyright that thing. But anyway, the other thing is that at the end, when you see Keith Lee posing over Orton, you feel deep down that it just doesn't feel natural. It feels like it's a random simulation from WWE Games Universe mode. Like, they're doing it just because they want to pander. Like, I don't even know what the feeling is. It's not natural. It's not earned. At least that's my opinion. Like, I don't feel they're gonna do something else with it, because at the end of the day, isn't Orton gonna be facing Drew McIntyre for the championship at Clash of Champions? So it felt like, let's just give Keith Lee the win, just so we can either make people not worry about our previous decision to bring him up, or just for the sake of giving him a strong push. But that's it. Like, it just felt forced, It didn't feel natural. That's my take, at least.
That's fair enough. I'm a big fan of Keith Lee. I've been a big fan of Keith Lee pretty much ever since Survivor Series, that stare down he had with Roman Reigns. You sort of felt an energy from Keith Lee at that point. And it was really electrifying. And then he's gone on to do great things within NXT as well, becoming the North American champion. Obviously, then going on to become the very first double NXT champion. Looked a bit sort of weak, if you will, on the way out, where he dropped the North American title to allow other people to go for it. Followed that up by losing to Karrion Kross for the NXT championship. But then bringing him onto the main roster and allowing him to sort of regain some momentum, getting a big win on Randy Orton on pay-per-view. I think I liked it, and I think the story there from the perspective of Randy Orton sort of works well. You have Randy Orton, who had this match with Keith Lee that ended with Drew McIntyre getting involved. So not only have you got a dynamic there where Randy Orton can sort of say, all right, I've already faced this guy, I get it, I'm going to go out there and beat him again. But he's also got other things on his mind. He's thinking about Drew McIntyre. He's thinking about getting another opportunity at the WWE Championship after he's just sort of hit 3 punts on Drew on Raw. So he's coming into this match and he's not taking Keith Lee very seriously, and I think that plays well into the finish where he does go for the RKO, and just as out of nowhere as an RKO is, that spirit bomb came out of nowhere. Literally throws Randy Orton up into the air like a child. There's no momentum. Randy Orton didn't have to rebound up, then he didn't have to run up. Just literally standing in front of him. Up you go, down with the bomb. It was very cool. So I'm a fan of Keith Lee. Obviously on Raw then we saw Keith Lee beat Dolph Ziggler and Randy Orton beat, can't remember who Randy beat, but they ended up being in a triple threat match, number one contenders match on the main event of Raw to decide who would face Drew for the championship at Clash of Champions. And with that you saw Randy Orton win, but because Keith Lee hits the Spirit Bomb on Seth Rollins. That takes Seth Rollins out. Randy hits the RKO on Keith. Keith rolls out the ring. Randy picks up the win on Seth from Keith's Spirit Bomb. So they're making a finisher look good. I'm always excited about that kind of thing as well.
Yeah, like I said, I didn't say it before actually. So yeah, I am a massive fan of Keith Lee's work. Not gonna, pull any punches from that. I'm just thinking that the whole thing now just doesn't make any sense for him to win it that quick, especially now with Orton. So if you look at it from a storytelling perspective, all right, the whole point was Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton. Protagonist Drew, antagonist Randy. So Drew already won. Protagonist already won. Fine. It was a roll up. Fine, I guess. But then you get add in like the sidekick, if you want to call it like the secondary protagonist, and he beats the antagonist too. I like so. What's the credibility behind Orton winning again? If he can't even beat Robin of the story, if he can't beat Robin, what makes him think he can beat Batman? You know what I mean?
So yeah, I do hear you. It's a little bit. It's strange that Randy's going to lose to Drew, lose to Keith, and then still go into the WWE title match.
Right. So it's like, maybe they'll add a stipulation, which I hope they do eventually. So
I was hoping that the match was going to be a triple threat.
Oh, that's gonna work. I mean, I would prefer that than another rematch because I'll be honest, SummerSlam match was okay. Nothing to, it's not gonna be in the nominees for match of the year. That was okay for what it was, but adding Keith Lee into that, like I said, I love Keith Lee's work. The guy's more impactful than anybody I've ever seen in quite a while. So I'm just saying, a fan of Keith Lee's work, not a fan of the story he's being presented so far. That's all.
Yeah. Did you like his outfit better? I didn't. I thought it was worse. I thought it was worse than Raw. It was just like, it was even more skin tight than the Raw one was. And then, why do you have different color top and bottoms on? It was legit like he had lost his luggage and that's all they could find.
Is he actually wearing the top because Vince McMahon thinks he's too fat to be on TV?
I think so. I think that's usually what we see.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a big man, own it. I love the fact that Keith originally owned it. So it's like, man, come on. What happened to the Vaders? I love it. This guy reminds me of a more athletic Vader. So please, own it, own that stuff. But if his figure is like too gruesome to appear on 4-year-olds TV, so I don't know. It is what it is, So, but hopefully, yeah, it'll be added to a triple threat match because when is Clash of Champions is like 2 weeks away, 3 weeks away.
September 27th.
Oh, so 4 weeks away. Look at that. Plenty of time for them to change up the stipulation. Please add in Keith Lee or add in something, anything, because I don't want to see another rematch with just them ending up with the same outcome because Drew is going to end up winning again eventually because I don't think they're going to have him lose at a random pay-per-view during this pandemic. Drew is basically the Superman and the cover boy of the pandemic era of WWE. So let's keep it that way and keep it, more prestigious.
Yeah, it'd be great to see Drew hold it all the way until crowds are back.
Hopefully it won't take that long because I really miss the crowd. The biggest superstar ever is the crowd, and now we definitely know that. We definitely miss that.
All right, moving on from this fun little match with Keith and Randy, moving to some more tag team action, the third of the show. Seth Rollins and Murphy versus Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio. Now, I'm not really sure what the point of having this match was, besides from, I guess, letting the Mysterios get some payback.
Just to
Get it?
make sure Rey Mysterio doesn't get the worst 2020 ever. He still got the worst 2020 ever because, what happened on Raw after? This guy.
Oh yeah, that's how Seth beat to get in the match. He beat Dominic, didn't he?
Oh, yeah. I mean, like I said, Rey Mysterio, besides 2006, this is by far my best Mysterio year ever. Just saying. It's Mysterio falling from buildings, getting beaten to death, losing his eye, his son getting beaten right in front of him. Oh, but he won one tag team match. Okay, that makes up for everything.
That makes up for it. But yeah, it seemed like the only point of this was for them to get some payback. The match originally happened on the Raw before Payback as well, but was cut off short due to Retribution attacking Rey and Dominic. I want to talk a little bit about Retribution after this match before the main event as well, so wait up for that. So yeah, they do the rematch on the pay-per-view. This match goes pretty much exactly as you would expect. Fast-paced offense from Dominic on the get-go before tagging in Rey, who becomes the punching bag for a while. Rey manages to get a hot tag on Dominic, who looks like he's going to get some damage, but is quickly shut down and becomes the new punching bag. Dominic eventually manages to get a hot tag of his own, which leads to Rey Mysterio taking the offense back for his team. After a bit of a back and forth between him and Seth goes for a cover, which Dominic manages to break up. Seth looked pretty annoyed with Murphy at this moment, as he was meant to be holding Dominic down while he dealt with Rey. This eventually leads to Seth tagging in Murphy, who ultimately ends up costing them the match after Dominic hits a 619 frog splash combo for the win. Dominic picking up his first victory in WWE, I think.
Yeah, I believe that was the case. They never beat Brock Lesnar, so I'm not counting that anyway.
Yeah.
So that again, add to my points that Rey Mysterio's year in WWE has been the worst. He even got beat up by Lesnar twice. So that's that. Okay, one tag team victory, very good match. In fact, I would say the most fast-paced match of the night, possibly. But Dominic, I'm very impressed with Dominic because he now not only proved that he can work a solo match, he can work as a tag team match as well. So I'd say this kid is pretty much ready and bound to go to greatness with WWE as long as they, don't ever have him fight for his own custody. If that happens, then I'll be more interested, actually. So beyond that, I would say pretty good match. I don't see the purpose of it besides giving the Mysterio family one W, just one out of everything they've been through this year. The other thing is, why is Rey Mysterio? Rey Mysterio at this point is a multi-millionaire. So why in the hell is he coming out with these freaking kid-like beach-wearing attires? Freaking what? He looked like, I don't know what he looked like. He definitely didn't look like a freaking king of the 619. It looked like one of the bathing suits that the kids wear at the swimsuit party.
It's a weird juxtaposition watching him go from wearing like Louis Vuitton masks to bright blue fucking swimwear.
I know. Can he just? I know this is a small pet peeve, but for me it's big. I remember when Mysterio, heck, even in his 2017 or was it 2018? 2018 when he returned, he still had the same type of attire, but the colors were different. And actually, no, he was just wearing tights. Even if he was just wearing tights, he looked great, especially with the black and gold style. It was great. Now he's wearing something that, Big Tony would wear if he was, invited to one of his freaking family outfits in the beach. So it's like, I don't know. Mysterio, man, you need to go back to stop dressing like a clown and start, dressing like an actual luchador. You're Rey Mysterio, Mystique. That doesn't speak Mystique. That speaks clown. Please, don't. Go back to the drawing board, literally. Just, he even has, I'm pretty sure he didn't dump his all the tires. So, where are some of those? I know, small pet peeve, but seriously, Dominic Mysterio is wearing way better color schemes than he is.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm not, like I said at the top of this match, I'm just not sure the point of this match was and why we got it again. And I'm kind of just done and over with Seth and Rey at this point. Hopefully this is the end. I don't think it is the end. But yeah, I guess we'll just sort of see where it goes from here. It's just going to be more torment from Seth. It's just going to be more fighting back from the Mysterios. And I don't know, unless they're going to add another dynamic, unless they can raise the stakes one more time, then I don't know. I don't know how much more interest I have in this story.
Loser gets to be eaten by the chef. That'll be the end goal. That'll be the end game of everything. So make that happen, WWE. I'll let you use the character. If you really need Rey Mysterio to just be gone, you have my permission to use the character. But other than that, I can't see this going anywhere else. So maybe they'll add maybe one last match. Hell, I'm maybe even predicting a ladder match between Dominic Mysterio and Seth Rollins. A callback to the whole Eddie Guerrero thing with Rey Mysterio. So who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, maybe. I could see a ladder match in his future, potentially. So before we get into the main event now, I just wanted to take a quick moment to talk about our Lord and Savior, Retribution.
Yeah.
So, I'm getting... So they debuted now just after Extreme Rules. Just after Extreme Rules is when they debuted. So, now that we're at the first pay-per-view, second pay-per-view. Now we're at the second pay-per-view. I know it's a week between them, but now we're past that. That's where I expect not even answers. I'm not saying tell me who the leader is and I want to know now and that's it. But just a progression in the story. They are doing the same stuff each and every week, getting involved in some match, attacking, running away. Again, I'm not got a lot of interest for this over a prolonged period of time. You've had the first chapter. You got to look at between pay-per-views as chapters. They debuted after Extreme Rules. You've had that first chapter up into SummerSlam. If you want to include SummerSlam and Payback as one and the same, sort of a sequel to one another, part 1, part 2, whatever, fair enough. But you're at the end of that chapter now. That's when you need to give us some sort of tidbit, some sort of clue, some sort of next step in the story. Not the same old thing that they've been doing day in and day out. And I'm a bit worried that they've not given us any sort of revelation when it comes to this story at this point in time, because I don't think we're going to get a revelation for it come the next pay-per-view. And how long is this going to go on until we start getting some answers? And also within that, then, how long is it going to take for us to get, and how long in between is it going to take us to have these answers? Like, if it's taking 2 lots of pay-per-views until we get some answers for this Retribution, is it going to be sort of TLC end of the year time before we get the next answers? Like, how long is this just going to go on as the same old thing?
I got the answer for you, because the rule, not in WWE, but in wrestling in general, you can only repeat the same storyline once every 7 years. So, and this same storyline happened 7 years ago in TNA. Aces and Eights. So, It's literally going to be to where it's going to take so long to reveal the first member that by the time everything is revealed, it's too late. And I won't be shocked if the leader of Retribution turns out to be Bully Ray and slaps Hulk Hogan in the back with a hammer. That ends up being the end game / revelation. But now I think it's going to end up being the same, because they just like to give us the slow burn. But the slow burn eventually will turn off a lot of people away from the whole point. In fact, I would say Retribution so far has been the least threatening, and if anything, the most nonsensical point, because there is no point, there is no sense to why they're doing this. They at least Aces and Dates gave us a gimmick behind it. They gave us the whole biker thing. They gave us members were being revealed. And it was a very good twist when Devon got revealed as well. So, everything sort of made sense. With Retribution, there's nothing. It's just these guys, these marks, just getting out and beating up people with a hammer and flipping over and vandalizing things. Like, okay, what's the point? Why are you doing this? Where nothing. Who are you? Why? Who, why, where, and what? None of these questions are answered, and we've been in this story for how many months now? 4 months. So nothing.
Not quite. It's not been as long as a month just yet, but we're still past that first chapter of it.
I just give us something, man. That's all I'm saying. Just people are going to tune out and not care, especially if you don't give them a reason to care. If they're just random attacks for the sake of random attacks with no carrot on top to basically tease us, then we're not going to pay attention. So please, for love of God, give us something by next pay-per-view. 4 weeks is a long time. So, give us something at least by Clash of Champions.
The only thing I could potentially forgive them on is if there's sort of a bigger situation going on. If it does take 3 months to start revealing what's going on with this faction, I can only really forgive that if it's sort of like the AWOL situation where you can sort of go back and say to me, okay, look at what we actually did over this last 3 months. And they could be quietly recruiting people on the roster, in a sense of building up their numbers with people who want retribution. Billy Kay and Peyton Royce. Imagine if they jumped on board. They got reasons to have retribution. Imagine if over the last month since they've been here, there's been people who have slowly started disappearing off TV, and we're like, oh wait, where are these guys gone? They might have ended up in retribution, where retribution has sort of been quietly recruiting. So if it's going to be that type of thing, then there's forgiveness. But at the same time, you've gone ahead and pulled the trigger and introduced this team, this faction, whatever it is, onto TV. You got to find ways to keep it fresh. You can't just have the same thing over and over and over again. So
that's the difference between AWOL and Retribution. AWOL, we kept it in the background. It wasn't the main thing because the main thing was the main stories. These guys, the main story is the background. So what the hell's going on?
They're trying to do both at the same time, and it's not working.
It's not. Focus on the main things until you get that thing all cooked up and ready to go in small doses and good small doses. But if you're just teasing us with no payoff, it ain't gonna work, son. So, focus on the big stuff and let that thing cook. Or you finish that thing and then give it to us accordingly and actually make things more enjoyable. But you can't have it both ways. So, pick one or the other. But hopefully, by the time, I'm going to be a bit more lean here and say, by Christmas, we get at least one member revealed, please.
By Christmas.
Christmas present, Let's see where it goes. But, Retribution, I really don't have much of a hype for it. Really, I don't. I think all the mask stable gimmicks have really worn off on me ever since TNA did it as well. Like, it's just, there is no point, unless, like you said, a big reveal. The big reveal already happened. The big shocker for me was Roman Reigns turning heel. I mean, so him being the leader, if that's the case, wouldn't be a surprise at all because he's already heel. You know what I mean? So it's like I don't know. We'll see. Maybe they got something else that could blow my mind, which is a rare occurrence these days.
All right, but speaking of Roman Reigns, let's move in to the main event now. So the WWE Universal Championship match between The Fiend, Braun Strowman, and Roman Reigns. So throughout the show leading up to this match, you see various backstage segments involving Paul Heyman, where he assures everyone that Roman Reigns promised that he would sign the contract and be in the main event tonight. When it came down to the match itself, The Fiend comes out first, which is usually not a good sign, the champion coming out first, where in the ring during his entrance, he is then attacked by Braun Strowman, which immediately starts the match with just the two of them. The Fiend and Braun begin destroying each other over the course of 10 minutes straight in pretty much a really similar fight to the one they had at SummerSlam, breaking things, hitting each other with things, hitting finishers, etc., etc. Not much to break down in that. The Fiend then gets Braun Strowman on the top rope, where he hits a superplex to Braun. Because they're both a super heavyweight, the ring breaks. It's at this moment when Roman Reigns comes out with Paul Heyman. Roman tries to pin both The Fiend and Braun, but to no success. He then grabs the chair and begins smashing Strowman with it. He then goes to smash The Fiend with the chair. He locks in a mandible claw onto Roman, almost taking him down to the mat. Roman responds with a low blow, sending The Fiend to the outside. Braun then climbs to his feet, where Roman spears him for the 3 to become the brand new Universal Champion. He then celebrates on the stage with Mr. Heyman to close the show.
And once again, Braun Strowman is the fall guy. Again.
Yep.
And again.
Just like we said.
And again. Yeah. I mean, they pretty much killed Strowman. Like Strowman Monster gone. Like I can't buy this thing anymore. How many
So
reboots
they
is this guy
brought
gonna
the
get?
monster back to then shut it down again.
How
Like,
many reboots is
why?
that gonna get? Why? First of all, I'm sick and tired of watching The Fiend and Braun brawl over and over again. It's like watching two bears, fighting, clawing. Like we get it, all right. Yeah. We get the point. I'm tired, and I'll say it again. The Universal Championship should have never been in the hands of Braun and Bray. Period. Because it ruined the prestige. I'm glad Roman won with this new attitude with Paul Heyman manager because that title needed that heavily. But Bray Wyatt slash the first of all, I will say this much: this is the one of the rare occurrences where literally there were no baby faces and no clear heels, to where it sort of was enjoyable, I guess. But at the same time, the end result was predictable and very sacrificial. You made Braun look like a total tool again. You made the Fiend look you make the Fiend not look fiendish, if that makes any sense. And Roman Reigns looked like the big dog, which we always knew he was, but now he's just a big dog who works with Paul Heyman with the title, which actually is the best thing to ever come out of this. But it was the most predictable thing. So, like I said, I don't know. I really don't know. It's poor Braun. Braun's gonna need another reboot. That's all I'm saying. But this time it has to be a really good one, because him coming back again, trying to act, like he's the monster above men, is that the nickname, Monster Among Men? Like he's not anymore that, because he got beat by a dog. So there you go.
I got Braun's t-shirt on right now. It's Monster Among Us.
It's Monster Among Us. You lost twice, my man. I mean, and also to the same spear. So I don't know. Did you remember back in the day when Strowman used to kick out of spears left and right? Now he can kick out of one.
Yeah.
So that's number one. Number two, who's making the ring? I mean, okay, a combination of 500 pounds should not break the ring. I'm sorry, but Bray is a big boy, and so is Braun. But Bray ain't no Kane, and Braun ain't no Big Show.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, it's 500 pounds, 600 max. It's not gonna break the ring. All right, that was forced, I think, just for the sake of trying to
a
make
bit of a stretch.
Yeah, I mean,
how
weak can you get? How can you? I mean, if anything, freaking Keith Lee's powerbomb had more force on Randy Orton. He freaking squashed him like a meteorite.
I tell you what, the ring break did do for me though. It sort of solidified the obvious strategy, which I guess is obviously put in place by Paul Heyman, of let the monsters go out there and destroy each other. Let them go out and destroy each other, and when they're both destroyed, when they've both torn each other apart, then you go down. Then the big dog goes down and picks up the pieces. And by having the ring break, it was just a really sort of solidifying moment of being like, okay, that's probably as they've killed each other for a bit. Now the ring's broke. This is probably as much carnage that they can do to each other. They're not going to have a fighting chance. Let's go, Roman. Now it's your turn. Get out there.
Yeah, so this also goes against Bray Wyatt's character too. Wasn't Bray Wyatt supposed to be like the smart mastermind behind all this, and he can't even see through the simple trick by Paul Heyman? Like seriously, he just said, "It didn't tell Bray, wait, let's at least wait until friggin' Roman comes out before we kill each other." But nah, man, it was a simple trick. It was a simple dastardly trick by Paul Heyman. Let's wait it out, and then Bray fell for it.
It was effectively a Money in the Bank situation. He just come out, signs it on top of the stage. There we go.
Yeah.
I'm in the match.
Since when can he do? Freaking Paul Heyman. He pulls the strings. I guess I don't know. Whatever. It got the job done. Roman comes out with the title. Finally, add some prestige to that title, if you can even call it that. I don't even know what the Universal title is a black hole of bad ideas and bad booking. So I don't know what you want to call that thing, but World Championship, it is not. Hopefully Roman can bring it back to its, well, I can not say bring it back, but introduce some prestige. I think the last championship hype match that I ever felt for the Universal title was Brock versus Goldberg. If anything, that was the last oh shit moment when you had the title on the line. Now it's just, whenever I hear Universal title, I just immediately remember like the Braun versus Bray No, 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 no. It killed Braun. Bray, I don't know. He didn't get pins or whatever. But Braun, oh, he shouldn't come back for a long time. He will have to grow his hair back. So much for that. Why did he shave his head if he's gonna end up losing twice again? I thought he was a new Braun Strowman. Well, it's definitely a dud. Ah, a new change, a new monster. Oh, but then I lose twice. I hate when they do that. Introduce a new serious side to the characters to end up losing twice immediately. Nah.
Imagine
Bad.
Roman just goes on for this match and loses twice. It just kills all the momentum, and that's just what they did for fucking Bray for some reason.
Yeah,
Braun
well,
even Braun, not Bray.
well, they might have done it for Bray too at this point, because Bray is just looking so stupid right now. He won it just so he can get fooled by Paul Heyman easily. Like, who knows? I'll wait for my judgment on Bray at Clash of Champions. But for now, what I'm saying, like,
We'll see what happens. I know you said you didn't want to see more Bray Braun, but it looks like Bray Braun are inserted directly into an Alexa Bliss love triangle at the moment.
At least the title is not there. At least.
Yeah, thank God.
At least.
Let them do their own thing.
Here's the thing. I really want Braun to be the next big show. I really want him to be the next big giant of the company. But it's not. It's not.
It was going
working.
so well for a while. That sort of summer of Braun, where he was just destroying everything, flipping trucks, pulling stages down. Like, he was going nuts for a while.
Yeah. What happened?
I'm not sure.
Not happened. But consistency.
Spookiness.
This guy used to freaking eat finishers like Rannick, and we thought that he was the next Brock Lesnar when it comes to formidability or formidability, whatever you want to call it. It's just, he was going to be Brock's equal. We even thought that Brock was the underdog when he was going to face him at No Mercy 2017. Remember? Like, oh, Brock is going to lose against Braun. Yeah. Now, if you put Brock against Braun, Braun is seriously going to lose. Like, it's not the same character. It's not in the same level. He looks stupid. I think him feuding with The Fiend hurt him tremendously. Because a small tidbit, and I'll explain this why. I think Bray, as much as I, am not particularly going to criticize his creativity, I think Bray is a bit egotistical when it comes to putting over The Fiend. And I'll tell you why. Small details, and I think it can be picked up on it. When Braun hit his finisher, The Fiend kicked out at 1. When The Fiend hit his finisher, Braun kicked out at 2. Small things like that. Bullshit. That's not fair. Really, it doesn't. So you're telling me either Braun is weaker or your finisher is stronger. Whatever the case is, the Fiend is stronger than the Monster Among Men. That's what they're translating to the viewer. And that's bullshit. That destroys the Braun Strowman Monster Among Men persona. It's over. Now it's over.
And now he's going to be in a love triangle with The Fiend and Alexa Bliss. It seems. I don't know. Seems like that's maybe where they're going. I do want our Roman Fiend match finally. So I do hope that this is the direction that they go in from there, Fiend Roman. Yeah, Braun's a bit of a dead fish in the water at the minute. What do you do with him? You've rebooted the character just to kill him again. Like, it's not like he can just disappear and you reboot him again.
No, I don't know. If you're going to reboot him, take him out for months, not weeks. Just take him even for a whole year. Who knows? It has to be, I don't know. Hell, I would even put the black sheep mask on him again. I don't know. Just something. You know what? Back when he had the black sheep mask on, he was more dominant than whatever he is now. So
that's not a bad shout, actually. That might be probably the better place for him to go. Just be on. Give the Fiend a new Wyatt family. It's going to be Braun and Alexa versus Roman.
Oh God!
Excited.
Let's see. Clash of Champions. Hopefully, we can actually get ourselves a bit more of a better taste in our mouths than whatever taste Braun is going to be tasting at the end of this whole arc. This arc has been not. Rey Mysterio had it worse, but Braun, he's definitely up there with when it comes to the worst 2020. Oh no.
Yeah. Not looking good. Looking good for the Brawny. So as you guys are watching this Thursday, we got SmackDown coming up tomorrow. Let's see what happens. We're going to get some answers there. The Universal Champion Roman Reigns will be there. I'm sure The Fiend and Braun will be there as well. So, yeah, let's see what happens. Let's see where they go from here. And let's see if we get any more clearer, definitive answers when it comes to what's going to happen next with these guys.
Just do something with Braun that doesn't involve him being a total tool, and I'll be a bit pleased.
All right, guys, that is us done discussing WWE Payback 2020. With that, we just have to give it a score. So, Rom, what'd you give WWE Payback?
So, SummerSlam, I gave it a 5. This was a little bit better than SummerSlam. So, 5.5, simply because the big dog finally got a title back. And there were some good matches, not gonna lie. So, definitely worth that little bit of an upgrade. So, yeah, that's what I said. It wasn't good, it wasn't bad, it was just meh, 5.5. That's what I'll give it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm in the exact same boat as you. I think I gave SummerSlam a 6, so I give Payback a 6.5 as well. It was a little bit more exciting, a few more memorable moments. The whole Roman Reigns thing, that women's tag match. I like the Keith Lee, Randy Orton's stuff. So, yeah, some moments here that are probably going to be more definitively remembered in the years to come. Yeah, overall as a show, 0.5 better than SummerSlam.
Yeah. But at least, we got 4 weeks of build up to the next one. So maybe they'll actually pack the card with some matches that we'll actually be looking forward to rather than just, oh, you beat me, so I'll have to fight you again. Like, because we need a bit more story heading into these matches. Because I missed the part where each match felt like it was a long time coming rather than just like, oh, it was added to the card last week. Just for the sake of it. So hopefully we'll get something. Well, all the titles will be on the line, right? That's the whole point of Clash of Champions. So there's that at least. So maybe it'll be a 6 out of 10, because of the fact there's all the championship on the line. So technically speaking, this show should be long if all the titles are on the line.
Yeah, I think they've been stretching them out a little bit longer. They've been getting up to that 3-hour mark. So, yeah. Well, how many titles have they got? 3 tag titles, ICUS, WWE Universal,
2 women's.
2 women's, 24/7, yeah, cruiserweight.
Oh yeah,
that's on NXT. That's on NXT now, isn't it? Actually.
Yeah. Not sure. Well, they might.
That's 10. That's 10 titles.
They might actually add the NXT title there.
Yeah, they could do that too.
Yeah. Oh God, that's more than 4 hours then.
Yeah, it's gonna be a beefy show. Strap in.
Well, we better get those notes ready. Well, at least we got 4 weeks to get ourselves to strap in and actually get something done. But yeah, it's going to be one of those, pay-per-views where you're going to enjoy it simply because there's a championship on the line and something is on the line rather than just, oh, let me fight you because you fight me. So at least there's that.
Yeah, for sure. All right, guys, that's going to do us for this episode. We'll be back with you next week with another edition of the podcast. As we mentioned at the top of the show, be sure to head on over to @BustandBash on Twitter. Give us a follow on there. Make sure to click our YouTube channel link. Come over to our YouTube channel that doesn't have a proper URL yet and subscribe. When we get 100 subs, we'll be able to have our own custom URL. So be sure to help us out with that journey. And like I said before, make sure to add us on Twitter. Send us over some questions. Send us over some topic ideas. And you could see your questions and ideas featured in a future episode.
Oh, yeah. It better be some good questions, too. Because I'm tired of seeing all these dumb things happening on my WWE TV. So please, enlighten me. Enlighten my brain cells a bit.
Exactly. So give us the questions. Give us the smoke. Give us the good stuff. And we'll be here on the next episode to answer some of that. Any signing off comments before we head out, Rom?
Yeah. So one thing, Vince McMahon, even though I may have crapped on your show, please still hire me. And number 2, for the sake of everybody else's entertainment, I really do hope that for the coming weeks, we'd be able to actually be more excited towards these new shows. Because even though, I freaking love this podcast that we're doing, it pretty much gets a bit more repetitive for these repetitive matches. So hopefully by Clash of Champions, we'll be more excited simply because there's more titles on the line. But yeah, other than that, there's nothing else to say, man. Everything else is doing just fine.
Awesome. And yeah, if you're watching this on YouTube now, you can check out Rom's links up there. You can check out my links just underneath that box right there. And if you're watching live on Twitch, thank you very much. Links to everything down below. Thanks very much.
Thank you, man.
Hey, you. All right, guys. Thanks for joining us. And we'll see you on the next episode of the Bust and Bash podcast. Peace.